Hello, I think we are actually already live. In that case, what's up everybody and welcome back to the channel. If this is the first time we're meeting, my name is Oliver. And on this channel we talk about education and early career development, specifically here in Finland, where I am about to finish up my master's degree in economics. And how these weekly live streams work on this channel is that I basically answer all of your most burning questions about studying and working in Finland. And there is a Google form linked in the description box below. So if you want your questions to be answered live, please post your question into the Google form. There, I already have the first questions there. And I will jump in and start answering those questions in a first come, first serve basis. Just a second, guys, before I say hello to everyone, I'm just checking that everything is okay in the technical sector, because we have a update to YouTube Live that I have not tried yet. Cool. All right. Everything works really nicely. Hopefully you guys can hear me well. If I'm too loud, let me know in the chat, and I will pull down the audio just a bit. Hey, yes, what's up? I saw your question. I will get to it in just a second. Thank you so much for the question, and sorry for not being able to get back to you. I will explain in just a moment. Joan, what's up? Upshinek, what's up as well? Yasmina, welcome to the stream as well. Who else do we have? That's Chania. Moi, what's up? Welcome to the stream as well. Before we actually jump into the questions, let me just really quickly post a link to this live stream into our Discord server. And if for some reason you guys are not yet a member of our Discord server, the idea of the server is basically to build a community of people interested in studying and working in Finland. And we have a bit more, in the server, we have a bit more personal dialogue, and we, answer each other's questions about these kinds of topics. Anyways, I think I will jump directly into the questions. Roy, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Hopefully you guys are safe on the other side of the world. Guys, if you have any questions that you would like me to answer live, please post your question into the Google form in the description box below. Currently, I don't have that many questions there, so if you want your question asked ASAP, then this is a perfect time to actually write your question into the form. So the first question comes from Fleischmann, yes. And as a reminder to everyone, Fleischmann is from Hungary, is still in high school, but is interested in doing a bachelor's in computer sciences at Alta University here in Finland. And there's a couple of questions here. First of them is there any chance that in future I can apply to Aalto University through EduNation? A really good question. So for anyone who doesn't know what EduNation is basically a Finnish company that offers an alternative route for international students to study in Finland. So basically how it works is that instead of applying yourself through the normal application methods or forms that we normally use when you apply to study in Finland, the EduNation staff basically takes care of that for you. In addition, if you are admitted through their services, they will also help you with immigration related stuff. They will also help you with, for example, job hunting and career planning when you are about to graduate. So it's a really, really cool service. I have a couple of videos about them already on my channel. I have a couple of new videos coming up a bit later. But as of now, EduNation is not working with Aalto University, and I don't know whether you will be able to apply through EduNation in the future. This is because EduNation basically has a list of partner universities and universities of applied sciences who are working with EduNation so that people can apply to those schools through them or via using their help. And I have not heard of any kind of plans for Aalto University to be added on the list. Cool. All right. So then the next question here was about a stream a while ago. So a long time ago in a stream, in a galaxy far away. I asked a question about computer science bachelor's programs, and after that I said to Fleischman that if he would send me a Discord message, I would then write him about bachelor's programs in computer sciences. But I still haven't answered. Could I answer live? Yes, I can, especially now that we are in the beginning of the stream and there's not that many questions in the form as of now. Yeah, definitely I can. So the problem here is that people basically, the Discord server that we have, the whole idea of the server is to give people the opportunity to chat about these same issues that everyone else is having as well. Basically together. So basically we have multiple channels where people can chat about these kind of things. And unfortunately, I don't have the time to answer to every single person individually. This is why it's easier for having these channels so that people can see the answers that I've given to other people as well. However, regardless, a huge amount of people send me DMs in Discord asking me about questions regarding their specific situations, which means that it takes me a huge amount of time to get back to every single person. So that is basically the reason why I haven't been able to get back to you yet. Just a moment. However, we are now in the beginning of the stream. So if you want me to talk a bit more about the computer science programs, just let me know the more specific question that you had in the chat. I will see the chat here next to my camera or on the computer screen, and I will be able to get back to it, and I can take some time trying to answer the question right now because I haven't gotten back to you in Discord. But before that, I'll just jump to the next question, and then I'll get back to yours once you have given me a bit more of a specific question, because I don't remember what the original question was. Meanwhile, I'll answer the question from Martina, who is from Italy. And Martina is also in high school and interested in applying for a bachelor's degree in electrical or mechanical engineering at Alta University or the University of Tampere. And the question is it a good idea to study abroad right after high school? I have a Finnish citizenship, but I am not a Finnish speaker. I don't see any reason why you should not apply to study your bachelor's right after high school. To be honest, I don't see any value of taking a gap year unless you want to travel or, for example, do some volunteer work. However, for example, if you think about taking 1 year off between high school and your university studies to work, for example, basic customer service jobs, sure, you will make some money, but I don't think that is going to be of that much of a benefit for you, for example, later in your life when you're applying for jobs. Rather, I would say that apply directly to university after high school, because you already have you're already on track on studying, and you already have the mindset for studying, and it's easier to continue that directly instead of taking a gap year during which you basically relax and you don't it's more difficult to get back to your day-to-day school stuff, I would say. In terms of applying to study in Finland with a Finnish citizenship, however you don't speak Finnish, basically what you need to do here is then you need to apply for an English speaking or English taught program, which basically means that you have to do you might have to prove your language proficiency with some kind of a test depending on the program that you apply to, as well as you might have to do some kind of an exam depending on what kind of a degree you're applying to. Unless you have done the Finnish matriculation exams, which are the Finnish high school final exams, in that case you don't have to do any kind of exams for any kind of English language exams for the university. But basically, any other case, if you have a European Union citizenship but you don't speak English, then you need to apply for English taught programs. Cool. Again, Fleisch, just let me know in the chat what was your more specific question, and I would love to answer the question as soon as you have it in the chat. Sabor Ahmed saying that a gap year can make someone find their field of interest. That is absolutely true. That is completely true, and I think that is a good reason to take a year off so that you don't rush into anything. But basically, Martina here is already stating that she wants to study some kind of an engineering degree, so electrical or mechanical. However, if you don't have any idea, any clue what you want to study, then a gap year is, I think, something that you can argue. However, in that case, I would either apply for a job, take a month or two off after, graduating from high school. That's completely fine. But, look for a job and try to work throughout the year, and then try to figure out what you actually want to do. However, I would suggest everyone to try and not do a fully empty gap year, which means that you don't do anything, because that is going to, especially when you apply for your first summer jobs or your first, part-time jobs during your university studies, that is going to hurt you at least somewhat. So that's one thing. On the other hand, for example, if you want to travel, for example, around the world, go back, backpacking for a few months, I think that's a completely valid reason as well. Actually, a lot of employers appreciate the fact that young people have experience, around the world, and they haven't, lived their whole life in their home town with their parents. So I'd say definitely a good point from Sabur. The next question comes from Brandon Lee from the United Kingdom. What's up, Brandon? Awesome to have you here as well. And Brandon is applying to study a master's in computer sciences. And the question is, what are the benefits of doing a master's and settling in Finland versus the United States in your perspective? I'm from the IT industry, and I feel that the exposure that one receives in the US in this particular industry is by far the greatest than any other country. Great question, a difficult question to answer. It all depends on what you end up doing in the end, because there are a ton of different companies in the US that don't give you any kind of value in your CV, even if you do well, with those companies. The same with Finland as well. Of course, if you go to the US and you work for a very, well-known company as a senior IT, for a senior engineer, software engineer, sure, that's going to give you exposure, especially internationally, because many of the companies there, if you, for example, work in the banking sector or in Silicon Valley, many of those companies are more well-known than many Finnish companies, on the other hand. However, of course, there are a huge amount of really, really well-paying jobs, really very good jobs in Finland as well, especially in the IT sector. We have a massive demand for professional or talented software developers, across the board, in basically every single industry. There's small companies, small startups, really fast-growing, growth companies. There's massive multinational corporations. So basically, you can choose whatever field you're interested in. In addition, the salaries in Finland are really, really competitive, especially in the IT industry, even globally. But then, of course, in the end, you always have to consider, you have to do the math on what is more valuable for you. So a lot of people ask about the US versus Finland or the other Nordic nations in terms of, for example, income and taxes. Yes, in Finland we pay quite a bit more tax, personal income taxes than in the US. But then on the other hand, if you have a permanent residency here and you're fully employed full time, and then you go for a permanent residency, and then at some point, for example, for citizenship in Finland, the benefits that you get from here in being a citizen, I would argue, are much better than being a citizen in the US. There's way too many to list out, but one funny one is that the Finnish passport is actually statistically speaking the most sought after passport in the world, because you open the most amount of doors with the Finnish passport, which is a funny fact. But yeah, so doing a master's in Finland, I would definitely say that it's worth it. It's your personal. I would dive more into what you're looking for from life, and especially once you've settled down and gotten into your industry. What kind of things do you value? Because in the end, the salary level, the differences in salaries, the differences in exposure are not that different in the end. It's mostly, I would say, the context of the cultural context, the day-to-day context which are quite different if you think about them. So I would approach the question more from this direction rather than from a purely value driven perspective, because that's also quite difficult. I know that this didn't most likely answer your question at all, but I hope it gave you some context as well. All right, so Flushman is saying that what kind of bachelor's programs are related to computer sciences? Sure. So, all right, so what I've been talking about this for, I think, in quite many previous live streams. And the issue here is that a lot of people are looking for bachelor's programs in computer sciences in Finland. And what Finnish universities do not communicate that well, and what, of course, then on the other hand, people don't understand that well, is that most of the bachelor's programs in computer sciences, or which are related to computer sciences, are not necessarily named computer science or a program in computer science. So they can be basically anything else. However, they can still include a lot of computer science related courses, and then of course when you go to a master's degree, you're going to have even more options, which means that it's going to be even more diverse. So as an example, if you, for example, look at the bachelor's programs in English at Alta University, and you look at the programs in science and technology, you, for example, have computational engineering. It's basically computer sciences mixed with a couple of other topics as well. Then, for example, they have data sciences, which is a bit further away from computer sciences. It's more focused on data sciences. However, you also have a lot of options in regards of computer science related courses. You have to consider that in Finland, in most of the universities, you have almost, so not full autonomy, but a lot of freedom in choosing or building your own study program / your curriculum, which means that you have, for example, your minor program that you can choose quite freely, and then you have, for example, a lot of selective courses that you can choose on top of your mandatory courses as well, which means that, for example, if you major in data science, you are able to minor in computer science and take 1/3 of your studies purely just software development. In addition, they have, for example, this program in digital systems and design. So for you, for example, I would check out each of these and don't go and look at the page itself. Rather, what I would do is I would actually open up Google and actually look up the program, and you can actually see here, this is the specific link that you're looking for. So into.alto.fi right here. So this is what you want, because this is the actual degree page that you can find on Alta University's website. And you can actually see the entire curricula here that you can choose from. And you can actually see, usually they list out how many different courses in specific topics you need to take in each of the courses, degrees. And then you can basically start building your own curriculum here before even you apply. So for example, they say here, first year, second year, third year. So you can see what kind of courses they actually have. And then you can start looking for selective courses basically you can choose courses from any of the schools inside of Alta University. So it's really, really diverse. So I would actually, I would definitely check out all of these three, as well as go to the websites of other universities in Finland as well, and start looking for. Don't just Google like University of Tampere Bachelors in Computer Science. Rather, Google University of Tampere Bachelors programs in English. Try to find the full list of their bachelor's programs in English, and then open up every single engineering-related program page, which somehow sounds like it could include some kind of computer science classes, and then try to figure out how you can actually modify the curriculum or the study program that they study plan that they have for you. Cool. Awesome. I hope that gave you a bit more context. Thanks for asking the question, and sorry for not getting back to you before. Let's see. All right. First of all, Pragash, welcome to the stream. Awesome to have you here as well. Adil Ahmed, welcome to the stream as well as Barkov, welcome. I will get back to everyone's questions as soon as I get to the individual questions. There's already a few questions in the line. So if you have any questions that you would like me to answer live, please post them into the Google form that I have in the description box below, and I will answer each of the questions in a first come, first serve basis. But it's going to take a while for me to get to every single one of them. Cool. All right. The next question comes from Harram from Sri Lanka, and he is interested in doing a bachelor's in engineering at the Accredited University of Applied Sciences. And the question is, how is the COVID situation, and is it safe for traveling to Finland right now? Good question. Unfortunately, I will not give you a direct answer here. I will explain why. Simply because the situation with COVID is changing every single day, and whatever I say to you today is going to be old news tomorrow. Unfortunately, what I can say is that the COVID situation in Finland is getting a bit worse. Actually, the Finnish government just met yesterday to stricten the regulation on travel and other fields in the Finnish day-to-day life. So unfortunately, the situation is getting a bit worse. However, regardless of that, please refer to the website of the Finnish Institute of Health and Welfare. You can find it in thl.fi/en. And on the web front page, you can find the latest updates on COVID and the current situation. Check there and then go to the left menu here, travel and the coronavirus pandemic. You can find all the necessary information from here. In addition, if you are, for example, coming to Finland to study, please Google, for example, if you are going to study at Alta University, please Google the university name plus COVID, and you will most likely find a university-specific COVID information page where they have frequently asked questions about the current situation. The universities in Finland are administered or regulated by the Finnish Ministry of Education, and they get their directions from the ministry, and they will update all the students as soon as they have the information to base their decisions on. So that's what I'm going to say. I'm sorry, I will not give you any direct answers again, because I'm not a healthcare professional. I have not read all the instructions myself because I'm not traveling, and the situation changes every single day. Cool. The next question comes from Kashis. Awesome to have you here once again. And the question is, Kashis is applying to study a bachelor's in international tourism at the SAMK University of Applied Sciences. And the question is, how is SAMK University of Applied Sciences? Is it worth doing this degree in Finland? Every single university and University of Applied Sciences in Finland is, really high quality if you compare them globally. So if this is a field and degree that you're interested in, then I can recommend it. If you're not interested in international tourism, then I do not recommend SUMC for you. However, if you are interested in that degree or that field, then absolutely yes. It depends on your situation. There are no bad universities in Finland as a general rule of thumb. I always say to everyone, instead of trying to find the best university in Finland, try to look for the specific degree that you're interested in and apply to a school which provides that kind of a degree. So yeah, definitely if you're interested in doing a degree in international tourism, definitely yes. By the way, Bargov, if you're still online or still live, I actually don't have your question in the form. So if you could please post your question again into the form. For some reason, it's not here. So just letting you know. So if you want your question to be answered, then just repost your question into the Google form. Cool. The next question is coming from Aravinda, who comes from Sri Lanka. And Aravinda is applying to do a master's in artificial intelligence and data sciences at the Accredited University of Applied Sciences. Nice. AI is awesome. Then the question is possibility of getting a part-time job related to master studies, and can we apply for masters with pending IELTS or without IELTS? All right, let's break this down because there's two completely different topics. So if Arcada requires the IELTS tests from you to apply, please go to Arcada University of Applied Sciences application website and check the specific schedule from their website. I do not remember whether or not they allow you to apply with a pending IELTS. Most universities in Finland do, because they know that the IELTS tests are run or organized, all over the place. However, there is going to be a specific deadline, a specific date at which, at latest, you will need to submit your IELTS results. Again, if IELTS are actually required. So please go ahead and check that this specific deadline from their website. However, if you cannot find this specific deadline, please contact Arcada UAS and their admission services directly via email. And usually the email for the admission services for each school is in the form of admissions, plural, admissions at whatever the ending for that university is, .fi. So please contact the university directly to get this information if you can't find it on their website. And then about the possibility of actually getting a part-time job related to your master studies. The question about getting a job related to your master studies, I cannot answer that because it depends so heavily on what you actually end up doing. AI in itself is already a massively wide topic. However, AI is one of the fastest growing topics in Finland, and this also applies to Ijini, I think your question, which you already deleted or retracted. So just take this into account. AI is one of the fastest growing fields in Finland in terms of tech, and Finland is actually leading AI in research. So it's highly likely, if you know what you're doing, this is key. If you know what you're doing professionally, and as long as you know how to apply for jobs in Finland, where to apply for jobs, when to apply for jobs, and how you need to actually go through, how is the Finnish job application process like, then it is likely that you are able to get some kind of a part-time job, that you can do alongside your studies. Yes. As a general rule of thumb, finding a part-time job that you can do alongside your studies is difficult. The earlier you are, or the earlier you are in your process of getting a degree. So for example, if you are a first year bachelor student, doesn't matter what the field is, it's going to be extremely difficult for you to get a part-time job. This is not about being a foreigner. It's also difficult for Finnish people as well. The more experience you get, the further in your studies you get, the easier it gets as well, because of course you have more experience and you're actually more valuable to companies. However, as a general rule of thumb, there are two fields in Finland, or two fields in general, where getting a part-time job is easier than in other fields. Business, as a general, because there's so many different things that you can do in business, from sales to financing or accounting, etc. So business is one, and then software development is second. This is because software development is the biggest or fastest growing field in Finland. And there is a massive demand of talented software developers and computer scientists and AI developers, etc. in Finland. So it's easier to get jobs, part-time jobs, alongside your studies in these two general fields. So take that into account. Cool. Guys, again, if you have any questions, please post your question into the Google form that I have linked in the description box below. This way I will have all the questions here in front of me on the computer, and I will be able to go through them in the order that they come in. If you post your question into the live chat, it is highly likely that I will miss that question because the live chat gets quite busy at times. Cool. Kashish, you're welcome. What else do we have? Let me see. Damindu, welcome to the stream. If you could please post your question into the Google form, and I will get back to you in just a moment. There's not that many questions there at this time, so I will get back to your question in just a moment. Sadullah asking, when are the admissions open for master's degrees? The next application process for master's degree, English taught master's degrees in Finland, happens in December. However, if you are interested in applying to some very specific schools, then in that case, I recommend that you check out EduNation, because EduNation has a list of partner universities which have they have more flexible application periods compared to the normal application periods in Finland, which basically happen once a year. So if you want to get yourself apply to study during this year before December, then go to edunation.com, edunation.co, and apply for any of these universities which have master's degree programs. Cool. All right. The next question from the form, and actually before we get to it, a quick drink. All right. So the next question comes from Ijini Utpala from Sri Lanka, and Ijini is starting school this semester. Awesome. Doing her bachelor's in artificial intelligence. Excellent. And the question is, I have applied for some university bachelors or University of Applied Sciences and for their bachelor's in AI. Can I know whether we'll be able to find part-time jobs in Pori? Cool. So Pori is a excuse me. So Pori is a city in Finland. It's not one of the biggest cities, but still, I would say that the same applies to you as well. AI is the fastest growing field in technology, and finding part-time jobs in AI is much easier than finding part-time jobs in other fields. However, I would not be expecting getting a part-time job right away after coming to Finland. Rather, I would apply for part-time jobs only after your first year, or basically by the end of your first year, so that you can start with a summer job and then continue that as a part-time job. So no matter what field you have, no matter your background, don't expect getting that you would get a part-time job right away after coming to Finland. I don't think that's realistic, because you have to settle in, you have to, figure out how everything works, you have to settle with the school, and you have to figure out how your education works, and then you need to start figuring out where to look for jobs. So it's not going to happen fast. In addition, I would tell you that you need to reserve at least 5 to 6 months especially for your first job application, job application rounds, because it's going to take quite a lot of time to get used to how the Finnish job application process works, and just figuring out all the different places where you can find jobs. So that's going to take some time. So don't rely on getting a job right away. Cool. But yeah, definitely in the field of AI, I would definitely say that opportunities for part-time jobs, in addition in Pori as well, are really, really good. I cannot promise anything. It's all up to you and your ability to sell yourself to a company. However, I would say that AI is one of the hottest fields in Finland. The next question comes from Sadullah from Pakistan. And Sadullah is also starting school this semester in Oulu, doing his master's in molecular biology. Cool. And the question is, when are the admissions open? All right, so I actually covered this, but a really quick summary. Admissions to the University of Oulu, as well as to other universities in Finland as well, in terms of English taught master's programs, opens in December. So we have one application round for English taught master's programs in Finland per year, and it starts in December and ends in January. The dates, exact dates, might depend a bit on the school, but this is the general timeline. However, if you want to apply for a master's outside this normal application timeline, then you can go, again, as I mentioned, you can go and check out Edunation, which is a Finnish company offering a alternative route to apply to study in Finland. And they have a number of partner universities. You can see all the universities here to which you can apply through Edunation. And many of these have application processes that go over or that are longer than the ones that we have in our normal system. So for example, the LUT University in Lappeenranta has their application periods between October and April. So that's a really long application period when you think about that the normal application period is 1 month or 1.5 months. So go ahead and check out Edunation. I'm not sure if they have any programs in molecular biology, might not have, but check that out. Otherwise, you need to wait until December. Prakash, you're welcome. Hopefully that gave you some value, at least to your question. Francesco asking, what do you think about the XAMK University in Kotka? I'll be there as an Erasmus student in September. That's a good question, Francesca. Unfortunately, I do not have any personal experience in XAMK, but I do know that they have a really good reputation, and they have a lot of really interesting programs. Kotka is a really lovely city. It's next to the sea. I've been there once. No, I'm sorry. I've been there twice. So it's in the southern coastline of Finland. I enjoyed myself there the times I were there. So I think that you're going to enjoy yourself as well. Again, about XAMK, I've heard good things, and as a general rule of thumb, every single university and University of Applied Sciences in Finland is good in terms of quality, especially when you consider globally. Finland has an excellent education system, as well as also in the higher education levels. So I don't have anything bad to say about them, if I can put this way. Cool. The next question comes from Damindu from Sri Lanka, and Damindo is applying to study a master's in agriculture in Helsinki, in a university in Helsinki. I would guess that the University of Helsinki specifically. And the question is, I was told that scholarships are cancelled. Is it for short-term or a permanent decision? I have not heard about this at all. What? Damindo, if you could please give me a bit more context. Where did you hear this from? I would really, really like to hear where did you get this from? Because I have not heard about this at all, and I cannot, with a quick Google, I have not heard. I cannot find any information about this, and let's see. Yeah, I haven't heard anything about this kind of a issue. I would specifically reach out to the university that you're interested in, so the University of Helsinki. But for example, on their scholarships page, I have no information about any kind of yeah, I cannot find any kind of information about any kind of cancellations in any scholarships in the University of Helsinki. I think I would heard of this. So I would either check your sources and verify that this is a credible source. And if it is, then please reach out to the University of Helsinki directly and ask about this, because I have no information about such a statement. G Choi, welcome to the stream. G Choi, I hope that I pronounced your name correctly. If you could please post your question into the Google form that I have linked in the description box below. So how these live streams usually work is that if you want your question answered live, people post their questions into the Google form, because that way I will have all the questions here in front of me on the computer, and I will be able to answer all questions in a first come, first serve basis. Because if you post your question into the live chat, it's most likely going to be lost in the discussions. So just letting you know. The next question from the form comes from Emma from the USA. Welcome, Emma, back to the stream as well. Awesome to have the regulars here. And Emma is still finishing up her high school and is interested in doing a bachelor's in a undecided field. But the question is, how much is the university homework workload on average? Is it like 4 hours of homework per day? Impossible to say. A good question, though. Depends totally on what you want to do. So if you can spend hours and hours and hours on courses, if you want to, you can spend you can spend 12 hours on your coursework if you want to do it. But as a general rule of thumb, I would consider, as a full-time student, you are an equivalent to a full-time employee. So basically, if you want to do well in school, you basically have to consider working 8 to 10 hours a day, depending on the cycle. So, for example, the closer you get to exam weeks, the more usually people work. But for example, in the beginning of the periods and semesters, when you have your first classes, people usually don't do that much work. I had periods during my university when I had a huge amount of courses at the same time, because you can basically build your own curriculum. And I basically worked for 12 hours a day, and it almost killed me. And I actually burnt out really badly at one point during my first year, which was completely stupid. It was all on me. However, if you don't want to put that much effort, that's fine. Of course, it also depends on your background and your ability to absorb and understand information. One thing that I would tell you, for example, what kind of a benefit you have is, as a native English speaker, you will most likely have it easier with a lot of different courses compared to, for example, Finnish nationals or native Finns who study the same subjects, because for them, for us, for Finnish people, we also have to learn the vocabulary, especially in the beginning of our studies, because, for example, if you consider the business school, everything is new. Absolutely everything is. All the concepts, all the theory, all the academics, as well as all the vocabulary, it's all new. We haven't ever read about these kind of things unless you read actively like business papers. So for you, I think it comes easier, especially in the beginning, because you're able to absorb information faster. However, I would still regard, studying full-time as a full-time job. So that's why I definitely don't recommend taking a part-time job, especially in the beginning, because you first have to build your own study methods and your style of studying before taking extra work by actually working part-time, if you get what I mean. Daminda saying that he contacted the about the question about scholarships which are cancelled, and that I contacted admission services of the University of Helsinki. That's interesting. That's completely new information for me. So I don't. Again, depending on, do you mean that you contacted them right now, or contacted them before and heard from them that the scholarships are cancelled? So, but yeah, I would say that verify the sources for this. Anyway, the next question comes from again from Iani Utpala from Sri Lanka, and the question is, Oliver, really, I had the doubt like whether a student can find part-time jobs in Pori like in Helsinki to cover the expenses. All right, so I will put it blah blah blah. Moment. So if you want to cover your living expenses by working part-time in Pori, especially since you're coming to work to do your bachelor's. So as a first-year bachelor student, that is not possible. Just, it's not realistic. No. What I said before was specifically about the field of AI. So your previous question was, are there part-time jobs in the field of AI? Yes, there are. There are part-time jobs in AI. However, you are not going to get a part-time job in your field in your first year, unless you are a miracle child, basically. No, well, that's not fair. But it is extremely rare, even for Finnish nationals or native Finnish speakers, to get a part-time job in their field in their first year of studies when they're doing their bachelor's. So if you want to pay for your living expenses with a part-time job, no, during the first year, it's not possible. Also, it's only possible if you have a high-paying job in your own field, because part-time jobs that are, for example, in the service sector, like grocery stores, clothing stores, this kind of stuff, they're not going to pay you enough because you're not allowed to work full-time. So you have a limited amount of hours that you can work. And considering that the pace in those kind of jobs is not that high, and you have to pay taxes, after taxes, you will not have enough cash in hand to cover all of your living costs. So no, that's not possible. But to your question about, are there part-time jobs in AI in the field of artificial intelligence? Yes, there are, and many of them are very high paid. However, you will not be able to get one during your first year of studies. It's simply not, I don't think it's realistic to think about. Gustav, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Love Korea. Hey, what's up? Welcome to the stream as well. Awesome to have everyone on board. But yeah, Ian, I hope that this again gave you a bit more context. So do not rely on a part-time job for paying, to pay for your living costs. That's not smart. It's not realistic, especially in your first years. However, in the field of AI, yes, there are part-time jobs there. Cool. The next question comes from Zainab Mohammed, who comes from Egypt, and she's applying to study a bachelor's in software engineering. in the next application period, and the schools that she's interested in are the University of Tampere and, Tampere University of Applied Sciences specifically. Nice. By the way, Kaustav, I'm actually doing quite fine. I'm actually almost finished with my thesis, so should be done with that in a week or so, maybe, hopefully. Depending on my instructor, how many things he wants me to correct first. Cool. So Sign Up has 2 questions. First of them, is the student, if a student is admitted to a particular field of study, could he or she change his major to another field? As a general rule of thumb, no, this is not possible. So if you apply to, for example, Alta University, which has everything between business to engineering to chemistry, if you are admitted to study business and specifically economics, you are not allowed to change to, say, engineering, or you are not allowed to change to, say, to finance. It's not normally possible. So you really need to figure out what specific degree you want to study before you apply. All right. So that's the general rule. There might be some exceptions. I have not found any. If you find any, please let me know. I'd be really interested in hearing about them. However, this is my understanding. The second question was, are the Finnish degrees internationally accredited? Yes, there are. Yes, they are. Any degree that you get from a Finnish university or University of Applied Sciences is internationally accredited. You have to take into account that Finland has a public university system, and we have a couple of private universities as well, but I would not, those mostly actually function with international degrees. So for example, if you want to do an MBA, so a business degree, then you would have to go to a private university. But those are actually not Finnish degrees. They are actually British degrees based on the British MBA curriculum, or degree. So yes, Finnish university and University of Applied Sciences degrees are internationally accredited. Cool. Shamrat, welcome to the stream. Aina, what's up also? Welcome to the stream. Guys, if you want me to answer your questions, please post your questions into the Google form that I have linked below. The reason is that usually the chat gets pretty busy during these live streams, and if you post your question into the live chat, I will most likely miss it. So if you post your question into the Google form below, I will be able to answer all your questions in a first come, first serve basis. Talking of which, the next question from the form comes from Prashant Bayudial. Prashant Bayudial. It's really difficult, D-Y-A-L combination. I hope I pronounced it correctly. Anyways, so Prashant comes from Nepal and is starting school this semester in doing a bachelor's in engineering. And the question is, hi Oliver, hi Prashant, what's up? I want to know about the scholarships for international students in technology sector, especially in engineering. I have applied for an engineering program in the joint application through the joint application system this year. I also like to know whether the gap year affects in application period. So a gap year should not affect your admission chances that much. As much as I know of it. I have, of course, as a disclaimer, I have no experience in processing university applications. However, I don't think a gap year is going to impact your chances of getting accepted. Then in terms of scholarships, so scholarships depend on the school that you apply to. This is, for example, one of the reasons why I ask about the school that you apply for in the form, so that I can give you a more precise answer. So some schools, so basically every single university and University of Applied Sciences in Finland has scholarships that are offered for international students who are not European Union citizens. So for non-European Union citizens. And how these work is that you apply for them either at the same time you apply for the school with the same joint application form that you use to apply to the school, or you apply for them afterwards. So in this case, I really hope that you checked the scholarship options for your school before you applied, because for example, for Alta University, you apply for the scholarships that they offer with the same application form that you used for the joint application, and you cannot apply for the scholarships afterwards. This varies a bit between different schools, but this is the most common way that they do this. So what I would do in your case is go and search your university's website for scholarships. Should be really easy. It's a very popular topic. Just Google your school's name as scholarships and you should find the page right away, and specifically try to look for the how to apply section. And that section will tell you about how to apply for the scholarships. In addition, how big the scholarships are and what kind of costs they cover also depends on the university. However, there are very, very few scholarships in all of Finland that cover living costs. So the clear majority of scholarships in Finland that the Finnish universities offer only cover the tuition fees. So for example, again, Alta University as an example, it's easy for me because I've studied there. They have two types of scholarships. They have 50% scholarships and 100% scholarships. 50% scholarships cover 50% of your tuition fee for the entire duration of your studies, and the 100% scholarship covers 100% of your tuition fee for the entire duration of your studies. However, neither of these cover any living costs. No rents, no travel costs, no food, anything. So you have to take that into account. So please Google your school and scholarships, and you will find this specific information there. If you had provided your school in the form, I could have looked it up right now. So, everyone take that into account if you want me to look up more precise information. Anyways, the next question comes from Barsha from Bangladesh, and Barsha is applying to do a bachelor's in, I think CSE, is that computer sciences, computer science engineering, or computer sciences and engineering, I'd guess. And the question is, as an international student, I want to apply to a varsity with highest scholarships. So is there any university which will give me scholarships in September, in the September period or before it? All right, I'm not quite sure what you mean with varsity, whether that was a typo and you mean a variety of schools. So again, every single university in Finland offers scholarships for non-European Union students. And how these work is that you apply for them either with the same application form that you use to apply to the school or afterwards, depending on the school. Again, how big they are and how many scholarships there are available depends on each school. And there are in general no third-party scholarships. So if you don't get the university scholarships, there usually are no other scholarship options available. So just take that into account. Bernette Cornelia saying, hi, I'm from Amsterdam. I just got accepted to Alta University. I will start in September. Awesome. Congratulations. If I had, some kind of sound system here, I would actually play some kind of a clapping sound, but I would say, congratulations. That is awesome. I think you're going to enjoy it so much. That is most likely life-changing for you. Welcome to Alta. It's the best university in Finland in the fields that we have here. So that's a huge thing. Congrats. By the way, Burnett, I don't remember if you actually are a member of our Discord server. This also applies to everyone else as well. If you're not a member of our Discord server, do consider joining. So what we are doing there is we're building a community of people who are interested in studying and working in Finland. And in the server, I post updates about videos and live streams, as well as we have more, personal discussions about different kind of topics related to living and studying in Finland. There's a link in the description box below if you want to join. And for example, it's going to be very useful for you when you, for example, apply for your first jobs after coming to Finland, or if you have any questions about, relocating to Finland, if you are looking for furniture or, whatever. Just there's a lot of help that you can find in the Discord server. You can ask questions and then me or other members will answer them. So consider joining. But congratulations, that is a huge, huge thing. And I really hope that more people are going to bring me, also other positive news like this. Awesome. That actually made my day. I'm really happy. Nice. Cheers. Cool. Nice. That's cool. That's awesome. Really love to hear positive news. Nagarjuna actually asking the same thing, so are about the same topic. So, hi Oliver, when will the Alta University announce the admission results? That's a really good question. Let me check it really quickly. I do not remember. Let's see. Nope, not that one. Here, June 4th is the latest that you will hear about the admission results, depending on whether you applied for a bachelor's or a master's. The first admission results will come in. I'm sorry, I think, well, if basically is saying, let's put it this way, if Burnett already got the results, I think that means that the results are going to start dropping in one by one, but all of them are posted, or every single applicant is informed by by June 4th. And do remember that this timetable is going to vary a bit from school to school. So this does not apply to every single university in Finland. Just Alta. Cool. The next question comes from Bree from England. And Bree is interested in doing a master's degree in chemistry at the University of Helsinki. Awesome. Excellent choice. The number one research university in Finland and one of the top universities in the world as well. Let's see. The question is, what do you think about the University of Helsinki, more specifically the Kumpula campus? I'm going to do chemistry there, and I was wondering if you had any idea what the lab sessions would be like. So unfortunately, I do not know what these lab sessions will be like. However, I know that the Kumpula campus at the University of Helsinki is awesome. The University of Helsinki is absolutely massive, and it covers, what is it, 4 or 5 different campuses around the center of Helsinki, depending on where you are. Because, for example, if you study agriculture, you're a bit further away from the center. If you study, for example, law, you are in dead center, smack center next to the presidential, residence, basically, in Helsinki. If you study in the University of Helsinki Medical School, you are a bit outside of the center, but not that far. The Kumpula campus is, I've never been there myself, but I've heard really, really, really good things about it. Let me just check really quickly. Let's see. Oh yeah, actually the funny thing is now that I look it up on the map, I actually, for some reason, I figured it out in a bit of a different other spot in Helsinki. Kumpula is in a really lovely area. It's basically close to this place called Arabianranta, which Arabia basically, and it's a really, really cool area. They have a very lovely, how do you say? It's really close to the sea, and it used to be a really hipster place. For example, the Helsinki School of Arts and Design used to be there. They moved to a new campus a couple of years ago. However, the Kumpula Arabia area is just lovely, and I would actually love to live there at point, because it's kind of closer to nature, but then again, it's really well connected to the center. It's excellent facilities, whatever you like. Whatever type of living you like, so being closer to the center or closer to the nature, whatever. I'm sorry, I'm rambling. It's a really, really nice place. I would say that my gut feeling is that the lab facilities are excellent. Again, considering that the University of Helsinki is the #1 research university in Finland, and especially if you're studying chemistry, the labs are going to be top notch. About the sessions, that's something that I can't comment, at all, because I have no experience in any kind of lab classes. Hopefully, this gave you at least some assurance. I guess not that much information. Cool. Then we have a question from Blitz. Blitz, who comes from India, and Blitz is still in high school, still searching for a school of interest, but is interested in doing a Bachelor's in Maritime Sea Captain in the Satakunta University. Awesome. I do remember, Blitz, you. It's awesome to have you here back in the stream. And the question is, I just want to know, is there any scope for Maritime Sea Captain course in Finland? Is Finnish required to get a career in this field? So yeah, so this has been actually, we've discussed this topic in previous streams as well. There is a degree in Maritime Sea Captain in Finland, but I do not have any more specific information about it. In addition, about the Finnish language requirement, I would guess that you do not need Finnish language skills. Of course, this would depend on the company that you're going to be working for. So if you're going to work as a maritime sea captain for a company that mostly serves Finnish customers, and their organizational structure is mostly Finnish people, then you might need some basic Finnish language skills, or near to fluent, actually. However, if you, for example, work for an international company that has an international crew, then I would guess not. It's really hard for me to say because it's such a specific field, but this is my gut feeling, I would say. What I would do is I would try to contact the Satakunta University directly, specifically their admission services, and ask them this question, because they will be able to give you a more precise answer, because they have a lot of experience in these kind of topics. So that's what I would do if I were you. By the way, guys, there's not that many questions left in the Google form. So if you want me to answer your question live, now is a really good opportunity to ask any questions. Again, post your question into the Google form below, and I will get to your question in just a moment. Talking of which, the next one comes from Shamrat Kumar Paul from Bangladesh, and Shamrat is applying to do a PhD at the University of Helsinki in biological sciences, specifically in informatics. Awesome, sounds really interesting. And the question is, please say something on the PhD admissions in the field of biological sciences, specifically for bioinformatics. Unfortunately, I cannot say anything about this. Couple of reasons. First of all, I have never applied for a PhD myself in my life. My brother is actually doing his PhD in biology. However, we have never discussed the admission process for that. In addition, I have not looked into this topic yet because I have no experience there, and there's so many topics that I need to still cover about bachelor's and master studies, that I will most likely start covering PhD studies a bit later this year, but I have not been able to look into it right now. What I do know is that the PhD admissions and the application process depends on the school, and what they require also depends on the school as well. So it's heavily dependent on the school and the faculty as well. So unfortunately, I'm sorry, I cannot give you any kind of an answer there. Hopefully you understand. There's just so many things to cover in the entire field of education in Finland. So simply cannot get everything or cover everything. All right, the next question comes from and please correct me if I pronounce your name incorrectly, Trochin or Trochin or Trochin. Trochin, is it the C, is it an S or cha sound Trochin or Trokin? Let me know in the chat, and please correct me. Anyways, Trokin or Trochin comes from Poland and is applying for a master's in Alta University to do a degree in data sciences. Nice. There's a couple of questions here, and I'm sorry, one question. All right. So what about having a part-time job while doing a master's to cover half the costs of living? Is there still a limit in terms of how many hours you can work? I'm currently doing my bachelor's in the UK, working about 15 hours part-time to cover living expenses, and can manage to work without any obstacles. Great question. Just let me just check really quickly one thing. So for you, since Poland is a member state of the European Union, so you're basically a European Union citizen, there is no limit for you to how much you can actually work. So if you are a non-European Union citizen, you can work for 25 hours per week on average. What the average means is that the average is actually calculated per semester. So we have 2 semesters per year, the autumn semester and the spring semester. Autumn semester runs from September to Christmas or New Year's, and then the spring semester runs from the 1st of January to the first week of June, basically. So you can basically work 25 hours on average per week per semester. So one week you can do 30, the next one you do 20, etc. And however, for you as a European Union citizen, there is no limit, so you can work as much as you want without any kind of restrictions on the field. So that is cool. In terms of working part-time during your master studies, specifically in the field of data science, again, please take this into account as a disclaimer. This will always depend on you personally and your ability to find such a job which is paid high enough, or which pays high enough that you're able to cover your living costs. However, in terms of data sciences, there's a huge demand for really, really good data scientists. And basically, as a data scientist, you can work in anything. You can basically be in business or sciences or whatever, in the gaming industry, in banking, in whatever you want, technology. So there's a huge spread of different jobs that you can actually apply for. And many of these kind of back office jobs do not require Finnish language skills, so that's good for you. So I would say that as a future master student, specifically in the field of data science, this is possible to work at least part-time to cover your half of your living costs. I would say that is realistic to think. However, again, take into account that finding a job in Finland is going to take at least 4 to 5 months to get your first job, simply because you have to get used to and learn where to find a job, or where to look for jobs, what kind of websites we have, what kind of recruitment services we have. By the way, I have 2 videos coming up about these specific topics next week, during the next 2 weeks. And how the job market and application process in Finland works. So once you've figured those out, finding a job is actually not that difficult, but many people struggle with those initial steps. So I would say this, for you. But yeah, I think that you're, absolutely correct that working 15 hours a week, while doing your bachelor's should not be a problem. If you're good with time management and you're able to, work all throughout the courses so that you don't have all the work crammed into the last 2 weeks, yeah, definitely, without burning out, that's totally possible. Not for everyone, because not everyone is as good with personal time management, but, Soggy Moon, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Xono, what's up as well? And Tweet Dijon, welcome to the stream as well. Guys, if you have any questions that you would like me to answer live, please post your questions into the Google form that I have at the top of the description box under the video. That way, I will have all the questions here on the computer in front of me, and I will be able to go through all the questions in a first come, first serve basis. If you post your question into the live chat, it's highly likely that I'm going to miss it because the chat gets quite busy. Cool. Excuse me. Before we go further, I will have a quick drink, and we're actually currently in we actually have 22 likes currently. So it would be awesome to get up to 30 likes before we actually end the stream. So if while I take a quick sip, it would be awesome if you could all gently tap the like button so that we actually get to 30 likes before we end the stream at some point. All right. Cool. The next question comes from Iram, who comes from India. And Iram is coming to Finland to work, not for school, and specifically working in the dental industry. Awesome. And or as a dentist, I would guess. And the question is, I'm coming to work in Finland with a 6-month work permit, which will be converted into a temporary residency of 1 year according to the agent. Is this true? Also, is it extendable for 2 more years? If I'm there for 3 years, I can apply for a permanent residency. Right, so this is a good question. Unfortunately, I cannot say for sure because resident permit applications are processed individually. And if you're coming here with a permit for 6 months, I do not know what the process is for you to extend it. It is true that if you work here for 4 years, or 3 to 4 years, depending on the situation, you will be able to apply for a permanent residency. However, the basis for this and the way that you do this depends on the individual case. So unfortunately, I do not know this for sure. However, what you can do, so what you have apparently done is that you have applied for a residence permit through an agent. What I would do is go to migri.fi/en. It's the Finnish Immigration Services website. And either during the Finnish local time, Finnish office hours, ask the question from the customer service chat. What you can do here is that you can basically say, can I talk to a human? And they will basically connect you with a person as long as you're within the customer service time period. On the other hand, you have all the information that you need about residence permits on this website. Again, I don't remember everything by heart, and some of the permits or all of the permits are processed individually, so I cannot say for sure. But I would definitely check, or ask the question from the immigration service directly, because I will most likely just simply give you either false information or somewhat false information. So because it's case by case. So all right. The next question comes from Jet Goti from India. And Jet Goti is applying to do a bachelor's in business in the next application period. And the question is, got accepted to Metropolia and Laura business programs. Can you tell which university is better? Awesome. Congratulations. Cheers, man. Cheers. I'll try not to, pour this on my computer. Congratulations on being admitted. That is awesome. Awesome to hear. I love to hear this kind of good news. Welcome to Finland. I'm sure that you're going to enjoy yourself here. Even, we have a crappy situation with COVID. That's the same everywhere else as well. But once we get rid of this, I'm sure that you're going to enjoy yourself a lot. In terms of the different schools, personally, I have no friends who have gone to Laurea business school program or to Laurea University of Applied Sciences. So I cannot comment on that at all. However, I do have a bunch of friends. For example, my sister has gone to Metropolia and they have talked good things about their programs. Of course, this would depend on the program itself and the teachers, etc. But I can say that the Metropolia that Metropolia is a safe choice. For example, they have a new campus building that was finished just within a year or so. So that's really cool. Plus the location is really, really nice. So I'm not saying which one you should choose. However, I have only experienced, my friends have only experienced from Metropolia. I have no friends who have gone to Laurea, so hard to say about that. But Metropolia is highly recommended. But again, huge congrats on being admitted. That is awesome to hear. It's awesome to get hear that the regulars who have been on the channel for a long time have actually gotten themselves admitted to study in Finland. That's awesome. The next question comes from Morgan from France. Welcome back, Morgan. Awesome to have you here. Bonjour. And Morgan is coming to Finland for work, not for school. And the question is, will my French degree be recognized in Finland? Is there any existing standards or systems where I can check if my skills are transferable? So in your case, all right, first of all, your French degree is absolutely going to be recognized in Finland. Of course, you have to take into account that this depends on the situation. What does it mean to be recognized or certified? So, for example, if you apply for governmental roles, many of those specifically require you to have a specific type of certified degree. In those rare cases, it might be that you need to get your degree certified, or you need to get, a degree from Finland. However, as long as you're working in the private sector, I don't see any reason why not. France is a part of the European Union. France is, the school system is very close to the Finnish model. So yeah, absolutely is going to be recognized. Of course, the question is about will employers in your field, in your case, data science, recognize, so actually appreciate your degree? That's a different question. It's impossible to say. So for example, if you have done your degree in the University of Paris, people most likely know of that school. However, if you've done a school in your degree in a smaller school somewhere in the smaller cities, most likely your employers will not know of that school. So I would not say that they do not recognize it. However, they do not have any benchmarks about it. So they don't know how to evaluate your degree against, Finnish schools. So in those cases, what I would say is that if you apply for jobs in Finland, then definitely you should write something about your school. For example, statistics, it's the best school in this field or that field, and etc. So that you give some context to your degree. Then on the other hand, if you're applying for a degree in Finland, so for example, in your case, if you were to apply for a master's in Finland, in that case, absolutely your degree would be recognized because, again, Finnish universities accept university degrees from around the world, as long as they have, as long as they give you, eligibility to study in Finland in university, and that's basically most schools. Basically, every single school in Europe will have you eligible to study here. So there's multiple different perspectives that you can look this through. However, I would say that the question about the employers is the most relevant one. However, what I would say here is that since you are in the field of data science, I don't think that's going to be a problem at all. Again, as I mentioned previously, there is a huge demand for talented data scientists, and it's always the most difficult. The most difficult thing is always to find your first job in Finland. And after that, the snowball kind of starts rolling because you get more and more experience in the country working here, working for local companies, etc. So I would say that it gets easier over time. But yeah, I hope that this answers your question somewhat. So for schools, absolutely yes, it is going to be recognized. For governmental institutions like government jobs, depends on the job. However, in the private sector, for jobs, absolutely yes, but you still need to explain to the employer in your application, for example, what what the school is about and how good it is in terms of everything. Cool. I hope that answered your question because Jet Koti, welcome to Fuxi membership level. Awesome to have you as a member. That is really, really highly appreciated. I really do appreciate all the support. Just to let you know, there's a number of things that you can see for members in the YouTube community tab. If you go into the channel and click community, currently for the Fuxi membership level, there are not that many behind the scenes videos there yet. However, once I get this darn thing, this is my master's thesis, which is almost done. I might have to do a couple of changes to it. Whoops. But I'm going to submit it in a week or so. After I've completed that one, I will start making regular behind the scene videos that are specifically posted to the community tab on the YouTube channel for members and to thank for the support. But again, it's highly appreciated. Welcome to the membership. Cool. There's a couple of more questions here. The first one comes from Sogi Moon from India. And Sogi Moon is starting school this semester, doing a bachelor's in nursing. And the question is, I'm considering studying bachelor's of nursing in Finland. Do I have to take help of an agency to help me with the application, visa and residence, or can I manage it on my own? And please make a video for international students about do's and don'ts in Finland. Sure. So a couple of things here. So about using an agent for the application, visa and residence permits. No, you do not need an agency for that, especially if they cost, a significant amount of money. I don't think you do. If you're able to find your way here to the channel, that means that you're able to find information, and that means that you're able to go through the application process on your own. The application forms themselves are not that complicated. They're long, but the universities in Finland, they provide all the information that you need to find before you actually apply. In addition, the visa and residence permit applications are not that difficult. However, what I would recommend you to do, so instead of applying through a agent in in India, what I would recommend you to do is, especially for the field of nursing. I've mentioned this company already a couple of times. #not sponsored. I'm not affiliated with Edunation in any way, so just take that into account. So Edunation basically gives an alternative and easier route to apply to study in Finland. And especially for the field of nursing, this is really, really good. Because the problem with nursing degrees in Finland is that many of the schools that actually have nursing degrees or bachelors in nursing, they require you to speak at least B2 level Finnish already before you apply. So that makes things so much more difficult. So, however, with Edunation, if you come to this drop-down menu and go to healthcare and sports, and you look up the bachelor's programs, and what? That's weird. Where are all the programs? That's really weird. That's odd. Let's see if any of these pages work. Hello. No. Okay, so for some reason they don't work at all. Nope. All right, never mind. So basically, Edunation works with at least one University of Applied Sciences in Finland that has a degree in nursing, and the application through Edunation is super easy because you don't have to fill the application form on the studyinfo.fi website, it's a bit difficult, but it's doable. Rather, you fill in a very simple Google form on Edunation's website, and even the better thing is that Edunation will actually help you with the visa and residence permit applications. They will actually help you, relocate here. They will help you from the airport. They will help you with your, apartments, etc. So if you want help, if you're not completely sure about your ability to take care of that yourself, I recommend that you don't use a local agent because they do not understand fully how these systems here work in Finland unless they're located in Helsinki or in Finland, but rather apply through Edunation because it's a Finnish company and they know exactly how everything works. And it's basically the only cost that you're going to have to pay if you apply through Edunation to a degree. It's €100. It's €100 application fee. So that's the only fee that you need to pay, and they will help you through all of this stuff. So it's really, really, really cheap in terms of this. So I highly recommend that instead of using an agent. However, again, you can actually do it if you want to on your own. It's no problem. But if you're not sure and you want help, then I consider doing it through Edunation without a local agent. And then the request about please make a video for international students about do's and don'ts in Finland. I will definitely do one. I have a couple of cultural related videos already on the channel, so go ahead and check them out. But I would actually recommend that you check out the videos from Aleksi himself. Let's see. I really recommend that you check out this video from Aleksi himself. Don't do this 13 things in Finland or Finns will be pissed. And this as well, what not to do in Finland, 13 things that will piss people off. These are really fun. Alex is a really, really funny guy. And I think they're actually really, really good as well. So check those out in the meanwhile. Cool. Then the next question comes from Karina, or is it Karina or Karina? Karina or Karina from Austria, and Karina or Karina, Karina. Not completely sure. Is that pronounced as with a French accent or a German one? Karina. Anyways, Karina is coming from Austria and applying for a master's in information and service management at Alta University. And the question is, hi Oliver, do entrance exams only apply to bachelor's or master's studies as well? Do entrance exams only apply to bachelor's or do they also apply for master's studies as well? Good question. So I'm not actually quite sure what people mean when they talk about entrance exams, because you guys don't really have entrance exams when you apply to universities. So again, there's a difference between universities and universities of applied sciences. Alta University is a university. And when you apply to study a university degree, you don't have to do, as an international student, there are no entrance exams. There might be you might have to do a language proficiency exam, like IELTS, TOEFL, or something similar, or some kind of standardized international aptitude test like the SATs, GREs, or something like this. However, there are no quote-unquote entrance exams to university degrees. So what people usually confuse this with is when Finnish people apply for university in Finland, we have to go through a very rigorous entrance exam. However, those are only for people who apply to study in Finnish or Swedish. However, when you apply to study in English, there are no quote-unquote entrance exams. Those do not apply. So in your case, well, I would need to check, let's see, master's information. Let's actually check. Check really quickly. Excuse me. So let's see how to apply. Let's see. So in your case, when you are applying to Alta University and the service information and service management degree, you basically need to do. Let's see. Right here. So GMATs are GREs, but they're only for business and economics. And you need a official transcript of study records. There's nothing about any kind of exams. All right, cool. Let's see the study specific options or the requirements. There you go. So basically, all right. So when you apply for this specific master's program, in your case, what you need to what the application is based on, or the admissions, grading is based on, is the relevance of previous academic studies. So basically, well, here's the specific requirements that they have. Check those out. Academic performance. So basically, your GPA. Weighted GPA, a standardized test. So you need to, right. Okay. So you need to actually do the GMATs or GREs. Cool. So that's what you need to do. However, these are again standardized globally. You do not have any kind of specific entrance exams, but you rather need to do the GMATs or the GREs with a minimum score of these, as mentioned here, right here. And then suitability, which means a motivational letter and CV. There you go. That's the requirements. Cool. Hope that answered your question. The next question comes from Yati from India, and Yati is already studying in Finland, in the Alta University school, Alta University, specifically in international business and architecture. I'm sorry. So he's not yet studying in Finland, but is applying to study in Finland for Alta University, either in international business or architecture, or that's two very different fields. And the question is, I just want to know, what are the career options after I graduate, and I'm still... just a moment. All right, so I just want to know what kind of career options are there after graduation. I'm still seeing architecture, or I'm still looking at the field of architecture. So which one is best to get a great career? Right. Okay. So which is better for a good career in Finland, architecture or business? Impossible to say here again for certain. Please take everything I say with a grain of salt. However, my general understanding is that finding jobs in the field of architecture is it's a smaller field, so it's also, that also means that there's less amount of companies that recruit architects. It's also an international field, so it might not require you to speak Finnish. However, on the other hand, if you do a degree in business, you will have more broad career opportunities, because if you are an architect, you are an architect and you specialize in something. However, if you do a general business degree in international business, you can basically do anything. There's a limitless amount of options for you to do. So I would say that instead of thinking about where will you have a better career, try to think of which field are you more interested in. Again, I mention this almost every single week in the live streams when someone asks about this, usually in the format of which pays better. Don't care. You should not care which field pays better, potentially, because it does not matter. Because if you suck at what you do and if you hate what you do, you will not get a job, or you will not progress in your career, because no one wants to hire anyone who hates what they do and is not interested in what they do. So do not study something because they have a good salary in general. Study only things that you actually are interested in, because that means that when you're interested in something, you will pay attention in school, you will put more effort into school than those who are not interested in the topic. That means that you're going to be more professional in what you do, you will get better grades, which means that more companies are going to be interested in you, they will pay you higher salaries, and you will have a better career overall. Doesn't matter what field you're in. So don't look at the career options per se, only look at what you want to do. Right. This is what I would say. So hopefully that gave you some context at least. Cool. The next question comes from Asif from Pakistan, and Asif is applying for a master's in computer sciences at Alta University in the next application period. And the question is, if I get admitted in, for example, to Tampere University, and I completed 1 year of my studies there. And if the next year I applied to Alta University and got admitted there as well, can I transfer my 1 year worth of credits to Alta University or any other university to continue studies in my second year? Or do I have to start from the first year and basically complete, the first year twice? Great question. So this is actually a really, really good question. And the answer here is that this depends on the school specifically. Alta University is notoriously bad at accepting credits from other schools, no matter how close the courses are in their curriculum. So I know a lot of people who, for example, applied to the Alta, who applied to Alta University, but got admitted to another business school in the first year. They did 1 year of business studies in another university, and then they got admitted to Alta University, and Alta University didn't accept any of their credits from the first year. So Alta University is notoriously bad at accepting credits from other schools. You might be able to get some of them accredited, but not all of them. Absolutely not. That's not going to happen. However, this is going to depend on the school itself. Of course, it also depends on the field itself. So if you, for example, apply to a completely different field from computer sciences to business, then it doesn't matter even on the school. You're not going to be able to transfer the credits from one school to another. This also depends a bit on whether you apply from a university to a university or from a University of Applied Sciences to a university. For example, my girlfriend is doing a double degree, so she's both studying a degree at a University of Applied Sciences as well as at a university. And because the university courses are usually higher level, she's able to transfer some of those credits, especially in language studies, into her University of Applied Sciences degree. However, it doesn't work the other way at all. There's nothing that she can transfer from the University of Applied Sciences to her university degree. So depends on the school. In this specific example, from Tampere to Aalto, I don't think that's going to happen. If yes, then you're able to transfer maybe 1 or 2 courses, but not the entire year. Absolutely not. This is a very unfortunate situation, but it sucks really bad, and people complain about it all the time. But it's just how it works. Cool. Awesome. The next question comes from Joshua from England. Welcome back, Joshua, to the stream. And Joshua, as a reminder, is still in high school, but interested in doing a master's in global business law. And the question is, are high school qualifications from other countries, like from the UK, recognized by Finnish universities? Yes, there are. Yes, they are. Or do you have to do something else before applying? I've seen the SAT tests talked about before, but the information on the internet is quite conflicting. And also saying, myös mä uskon, että sinun diplomityösi menee hyvin. Oh, thanks. That's really cool. That's in Finnish. In English, or translated from Finnish to English, that means that I believe that your thesis work is going well. Thank you. It's actually going quite well. I'm almost finished. Pun intended. So good question, Joshua. High school diplomas from other countries are accredited in Finland or are recognized by Finnish universities. There might be some exceptions, but basically usually it doesn't matter where you come from, they are accepted as long as they give you eligibility to apply for a university in that country as well. So that's usually the measurement that is used. However, that does not mean that you do not have to take part in a standardized aptitude test. For example, in your case, if you want to apply to study business law, it's highly likely that you have to do the SATs. Again, this depends on the school and the degree that you're applying to, but it's most often for bachelor's programs, it's the SATs that you need to do, and that's for everyone, no matter their background. So yeah, usually the SATs. What you need to do is you need to check out the specific schools that you want to study in. For example, here you mentioned as cities, Helsinki and Espoo, basically the same place when you think about schools. Oulu and Tampere, which are two cities further away in north. So I would look for the schools from those places. So basically the business schools from those cities, and check whether or not you need to do the SATs for those schools for their bachelors. If you're applying for a master's, then you usually do not need to do the SATs. Rather, you need to do either the GMATs or the GREs. And this usually applies specifically for business-based degrees. If you want to do a degree in law or computer sciences, then you might have something else. But for business degrees, it's SATs for the bachelors and GMATs or the GREs for masters. So, cool. The next question comes from Ashish from India. And again, Ashish is still in high school, but is interested in doing a bachelor's in mechanical engineering. And the questions are, there's a couple here. First of them is, how can I get a scholarship to Alta University? There's a specific way that you can apply to Alta University scholarships, which is basically when you apply to Alta University, you fill out a application form. In that same application form, you have to check a box that I want to apply for scholarships. And the exact minimum requirements for each scholarship is not public information, so I cannot say anything here. This is because the universities do not have to publicize this information. Plus, the minimum requirements depend on each program as well as each university. So there's no general guidelines or minimum requirements for scholarships in Finland. So hard to say. Basically, if you're applying for a bachelor's, you have to do really well in your high school, if your high school diploma is required. If you have to do the SATs, then you need to do really well in your SATs. If you need to write a motivation letter, you really have to do a really nice motivation letter. Just do as well as you can. There is a limited number of scholarships for universities in Finland. And then the question, does my high school grades determine scholarships? Depends on the program, as I mentioned, and the school. So you would need to check. Go specifically and look for Alta University Bachelors in Mechanical Engineering. You can find the information from there. But if your high school grades are rated or taking into account in the grading, it's not the only thing that is going to determine your ability to get a scholarship. So no, yes and no. And third, how much can I earn with a part-time job per month in Finland? Depends on the job, depends on the field, depends on you as well. Impossible to say. If you apply for a basic level part-time job, for example, in as a sales clerk in a clothing store or as a bartender, that's from 7 euros to 10 euros per hour. But if you get a part-time job in your own field, that could be anything from 10 euros to 15 euros, especially in the early stages of your studies. But once you gradually get further in your studies, you will earn more and more and more. So it's completely impossible for me to say. There is no general minimum. For example, in Finland, we don't have a minimum salary that is, global minimum salary. The minimum salaries are negotiated by unions for each field, and those do not always even apply, but some companies pay, more. So absolutely impossible for me to say how much you can earn part-time. However, the one rule of thumb is that if you come to study a bachelor's degree in Finland, you are not able to pay for your living costs in Helsinki with part-time jobs, especially in the beginning of your studies. It's simply not possible because you would need to earn, because you are also limited in the hours that you can work per month. So you have to take that into account. Anyways, I think this is a good point to end today's stream. We've already gone for almost 2 hours. Thank you so much for all the great questions. Thank you for everyone who has been online, joined us today. Congratulations to those who have already, received the letter of admission. Awesome. There is a lot of videos on the channel about things that you need to do after you have been admitted. So check those out. And We are currently in 36 likes, so it would be awesome if we could actually reach over 40 likes before we actually end the stream. But a couple of things. Of course, if you are not yet a subscriber, consider subscribing to the channel. On the channel, I post videos about studying and working in Finland. And I also go live every single week on Thursdays, 5:30 p.m. Finnish time, so ET or Eastern European time. In addition, if you have any more questions that you would like me to ask, just post your questions into the comments and I will get back to you a bit later. Most likely at the earliest tomorrow. And finally, if you are actually getting value of what I'm doing here on the channel, not only during these live streams, but in general, I would really appreciate it if you considered joining as a channel member. If you just simply click the join button either on the channel or here below the video, you can see the join button. If you click it, you can actually see all the different membership levels that we have. And each membership level brings you a specific amount of perks that I will give to you as a thank you for helping me or supporting the channel and what I do here. You guys are the only reason why I'm able to actually work as a full-time YouTuber instead of doing my 9-to-5 job. So I'm really grateful and again, you're the only reason why I'm able to do this. Anyways, I hope that you guys got some value out of this video. Once again, smash the like button and I hope to see you in the live stream next week. All right, bye-bye.